Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I plan to read in the month of July. I've got a hell of a lot of books to show you here, guys, so I'm going to just crack right on. What I will say is that I have fallen quite behind with my reading challenge, and I was talking about this in my reading resolutions video, which I will link below, and I'm about, currently, I think when I filmed it I was about 6 or 7 books behind, and now I'm 10 books behind, but I thought I would use this month as an opportunity to get through a lot of the 150 pages or less books on my shelf, and catch up, and also just enjoy these books, because I keep my smaller books on the shelf in the bathroom. I don't know why. I think I just do, just in case I want to have a bath and read one of those books, or just in case people want to have a little peruse while they're having a poo and peruse. So yeah, so I've got all of these books from there, and I thought I would use this month to read them, because they just sit there otherwise. I don't really do much about it. But I will start with the books that I'm going to be reading for my book clubs first, because they are not, although this one might be less than 150 pages. It's 157, just fallen outside. So these are the books that I'm going to be reading for my book club. So for my my Patreon book club, the genre or theme for the month is female bodies, and we had a vote between Animal by Sarah Pascoe and this book, Hunger by Roxane Gay, and this book won. So this is Roxane Gay's memoir of her body. I was kindly sent this by the Reading Women podcast. I was on a podcast of theirs. We're talking about food and fiction and non-fiction, actually, and as a thank you they sent me this book with a lovely little Reading Women Award winner sticker on the front, so very much enjoying this. So this is a memoir from Roxane Gay, where she talks about the experience of living in a body that she calls wildly undisciplined, and she casts a insightful and critical eye on her childhood, teens and 20s, including a devastating act of violence that was a turning point in her young life, and brings readers into the present and the realities, pains and joys of her daily life. So I've been meaning to read this for a really long time. This won by quite a way in my Patreon book club vote, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this and then discussing this. We'll be discussing this at the end of July, so yeah, very much looking forward to doing that. And then in my book club that I run with my friends online, we're going to be reading Swimming Home by Deborah Levy. I wanted to pick a book that was sort of like set in the summer, and the only other book I could find that was definitely set in the summer was The Butcher's Hook, but we've only just read some historical fiction, so I thought I will go more up to date, and this is set in the 90s, so I'm quite looking forward to this. This is about a family on holiday in a villa in the hills above Nice in the 90s, and Joe arrives and sees a body in the swimming pool, but the girl is very much alive. She's Kitty Finch, a self-proclaimed botanist with green painted fingernails, walking naked out of the water and into the heart of their holiday. Why is she there? What does she want from them all? And why does Joe's enigmatic wife allow her to remain? So yeah, never read any Deborah Levy before, looking forward to reading this. And yeah, as I said, this is only 157 pages, so it shouldn't take me too long to read that. And then the last book is my book club, and then the last book that I'm mentioning from book clubs is my book club at work, and we are going to be reading After the Fall by Charity Norman. So what we're actually doing in my book club at work this month is something that we've not done before. My book club at work has been running, I think it's like 8 or 9 years now, guys. It's been running a really long time. I'm so delighted that it's such a success. We've still got members of the book club who are there from the beginning. We've got new members. It's all wonderful. But one of the first books we ever read, and we all really loved it, was a book called After the Fall by Charity Norman. I'll insert a picture of the cover here. From the cover, this does not look like a book I would enjoy, and I'm going to be interested to revisit it after, like, this was one of the, so I read this about 7 or 8 years ago, but we all loved it so much. You follow a family who have relocated to New Zealand, and when they're there, they've got, so there's the mother and father, an older teenage daughter, and I believe twins, and one of the twins has a fall off of the balcony, which is the fall that is referred to in the title. And you're sort of finding out about them recuperating after that, as he's quite seriously injured, and their life adapting to relocating in New Zealand. And yeah, I just remember being really taken by it, and really surprised at how much I enjoyed it. There's a bit in the middle when they're sort of like looking into what has happened to this young boy. They almost, you almost feel like it's going to take a sort of like extraterrestrial turn, and it doesn't. But yeah, I really enjoyed it at the time. I remember like the description of New Zealand and everything was just fantastic. So I'm looking forward to revisiting it. And as I said, this is something that we haven't done in book club before. We haven't revisited books, so this will be our first reread. And as I said, we've got members of book club that have been there since the beginning, so people that will have read this before. And I'm interested to find out what they think of it this time round. So yeah, we're going to be discussing that at the beginning of August, so I'll be reading that in July. But that then is the end of the sort of normal sized books, and now we'll move on to the smaller books. So I've got here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 short books. I wonder if in July I'll read a book a day. Who am I kidding? Although there's 3 books there, that's 16, then audiobooks now. I wonder if I'll read 20 books in July. I wonder. That'll be interesting if I do read 20 books in July. Because also, I forgot to mention, I'm going on holiday in July for a week, and I'll be doing a holiday TBR because I've put aside some books that I am beside myself about. We're going away for quite a long time actually. We're tagging on a visit to Simon at the beginning of it as well, so I'll be away for quite a while. So I'll also be doing a holiday TBR, so we'll get in 2 TBRs this month, so I'll have plenty to be getting on with as well as these. So there is a high chance I could read 20 books this month. I wonder, a challenge. Right, let's start with the smaller books. So the first 2 books are books that are favourite books of mine. I've mentioned them in my favourites before. They're by probably my favourite author, and it's always nice to revisit these books because they give me a lift. Everything that I read in these books to me is true, and I feel like it's very important information, and they are books by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie about feminism. The first one is Dear Ijeawele, or A Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. This is a letter that one of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's friends asked her to write to her daughter on how to be a good feminist, to raise her baby girl as a feminist. So it's 15 invaluable suggestions, which I very much enjoy. And then there's also We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and this is taken from her TED Talk about feminism, and this is the talk that is sampled in Beyonce's song as well. But yeah, love those. Like to revisit those every so often. Not sure I actually read them last year, so maybe I read them for February last year, but yes, definitely going to be rereading that. The next one is a translated fiction piece. David's mum got me for this for Christmas, either this year or last year or the year before, and that is The Guest Cat by Takashi Hirade. This is translated from the Japanese, and this is about a couple in their 30s who live in a small rented cottage in a quiet part of Tokyo. They are both freelance writers, and they haven't really got that much to say to each other anymore, and one day this cat invites herself into their kitchen, and then she keeps coming back, and it's just how it changes their relationship and things like that. So yeah, this is a smaller book. It is, like as I said, it's 140 pages, but the font's quite small, so yeah, looking forward to reading that, and I've had that on my shelf for a long time, and I knew I was going to read it at some point this year, because I'm trying to read a translated fiction book every month, and now is the time to read this. So that's the next one. Then I've got a wonderful selection of poetry by my friend Jane Campbell, The Girl Aquarium. This was out earlier this year, and this is poems that Jen has written, and I've been to her launch and heard her read from these many times, and I love hearing them, and I'm looking forward to discovering them for myself. I feel like I want to sort of take myself away and read these like privately and aloud and things like that, so I'm going to sort of delve into this as the month goes by, and yeah, really looking forward to reading this. I actually went to a poetry workshop with Jen at the University of Kent a couple of weeks ago, where we were dissecting poems together, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, so yeah, looking forward to reading that. And then also linking in with Jen sent me this book many years ago when I first started BookTube. It was ever so kind of her to do that. She sent me the play, The Seer by Alice, and I've had this on my shelf for a long time, and I quite enjoy reading plays. I've done it a few times, and I'm looking forward to reading this as well. So that is another one from Jen, thank you. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are the Penguin Modern Classics that were bought out. These are all £1, and they bought them out to celebrate Penguin's 60th anniversary, I think it was. I might be wrong, but there is a selection of Penguin authors here that they have put into tiny little bits. So it's normally excerpts from bigger collections of theirs, or bigger essay collections of theirs, or short story collections, etc. So I won't go into detail what they're about, so because there's thousands. Shirley Jackson, The Missing Girl. Never read any Shirley Jackson before, so looking forward to that. Dorothy Parker, The Custard Heart, and I picked that up purely because of the title, Custard Heart. I could do some custard now, actually. Saul Bellow, Leaving the Yellow House. George Orwell, Notes on Nationalism. Chinua Achebe, Africa's Tarnished Name, and Martin Luther King, Letters from Birmingham Jail. So those are ones that I will read. These are all like, I know I say I've got them in my my bathroom to read as I'm not having a bath, but I could easily read one of these in the bath. Some of them are like, I mean this one, I've picked up Chinua Achebe's one, and that is 54 pages. I could have that done, no bother. And then the last two are similar to the Penguin Modern Classics. These are vintage minis. They're actually a bit curled up where they've been in the bathroom. For some reason those ones haven't, but these ones have. The first one is Liberty, which is by Virginia Woolf, and this includes excerpts, selections from A Room of One's Own, The Waves, Street Haunting, and other essays. And I think the only Virginia Woolf thing I've ever read is a short story that was included in a Christmas collection of short stories. I can't even remember what that one was called, so it'll be interesting to read more of Virginia Woolf. And then I've got Summer by Laurie Lee, which is about excerpts from his book Cider with Rosie, which when I started secondary school, and I started secondary school late, so secondary school, not to bore you with the school system in my local area, but the place where I was brought up is like one of the last places in the UK to have middle schools. So I went to middle school in between like junior school and secondary school. I went to middle school, which was from year 5 to year 8, so from the ages of 9 to 13, I think. And so I didn't join my secondary school until year 9, and everyone had been there 2 years before. I can't even fucking remember why I'm telling you this, but when I joined in year 9, the first thing we studied in English was Cider with Rosie, and I remember thinking, this is too hard for me, they're all too clever, I can't cope. So yeah, I'm looking forward to revisiting it and finding out if it is as hard as I remember. But yeah, this is selections from, this is excerpts from the book Cider with Rosie. So yeah, that is the last one. So those are the books that I'm planning on reading in the month of July. Hopefully, as I said, I would like to read 20 books in July. I think that's totally doable. So I've got 13, 14, 15, and then 16 including the book club book that I haven't got. 16 books here. Then I'm going to be taking some books on holiday with me. Then I'm going to be listening to some audiobooks. I'm already like halfway through some audiobooks. So that is completely doable that I could do 20 books in July. Do let me know if you've read any of these books that I have here with me. That's going to make a very busy thumbnail, isn't it? And let me know what you are planning on reading in the month of July, and I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!